So, Ali, tell me about your dreams and wishes.
I have a dream.
What is your dream?
I think insurance should be about holistic risk management, that we need to understand people's risks and manage it for them so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Cool. I'm glad
And
we spoke
uh,
about it. Good chat.
done. Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
And
See
why
ya.
do people need someone else to manage the risk for them or to do that holistic calculation?
It's a philosophical discussion. So I think from one side, as a business, you always want to solve a problem that people want solving, right? But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you have a different perspective, which is, Henry Ford said famously, like if I'd asked people what they want, they would want faster carts, right? With faster horses. So I think what people want is a safe feeling of safety and peace. And the way that that's been presented to them for the past few hundred years is risk pooling insurance. And the question is there a better way to present that? And I think there is. And when you think about it or talk to a lot of people in the industry, people think about it, which is how do we understand someone's risk, which obviously insurance is good at. It's one of the most data-driven industries in the world, at least it was until 100 years ago, 50 years ago. And we have the knowledge of understanding risk. We're experts in it. But in the sense of how we manage it so far has been more or less pricing it. So the question is, how do we leverage that data plus the new technology to do more in helping people with understanding the risk and managing that? I think cyber
So
insurance is one of my favorite.
when you say we, sorry for cutting you there. So when you say we, you're actually talking about you, while the individual cannot really assess his risk because it's irrational.
It's not just irrational, it requires an expertise. Because when we're talking about, okay, so we have a risk of getting into a car accident. Like, okay, I know I might be worried about it, but what about it now? So what can I do about it? That's where experts come in. So that's why I left cyber insurance as an example, because in cyber insurance, it's because it's digital and you're dealing with more sophisticated corporates in a lot of cases, it's a little bit easier to explain, what this risk management is. And again, a lot of people in the industry know about it, which is you try to understand the risk and then you try to explain it to someone through different risk reports and cyber reports, whatever else that may be. And then you try to help them finance it. That could be self-insurance, that could be risk pooling, that could be anything else. And obviously you have mitigation as an important part of this equation. So you try to reduce the risk through cybersecurity and so on. And then when a claim happens, you try to also minimize the claim by helping with recovery. So you try to make the person whole again. That is what holistic risk management is. On an individual level or a small business level, that is obviously a lot harder to do without technology, AI. And I think now we have a lot more tools. So when you think about the LA wildfires, that's where, for me, it's a little bit more close to home. I think of like, how could have I helped a person understand the risk of wildfires? What could have I done to help them with mitigation of it, cutting trees or bushes or, the sprinkler on the roof, whatever those examples are. How do we better understand what could have been done? How do we better implement that? And then when the LA wildfires happens, how do we actually play a better role in helping the person getting whole again? And that's what I'm very passionate about, very excited about. And I think for the past 2 years, we've been talking about it. And we think the best path to it is by creating the best advisor, the most trusted advisor. So I never started a company or my journey of entrepreneurship after Plug and Play with the idea of, hey, I just want to build a faster coding system or engine. It just never was that exciting to me, even though it's a very valuable thing. I think I was just more on the mission of how can I figure it out? How do I help people for problems that they don't necessarily know that they need, even though they could really be helpful to them. And that is holistic risk management.
Okay, that's a good philosophy.
So again, our mission has been the same, which is we want to create the best customer manager in the world for all things insurance and risk related. We think the best way to do that is a combination of human and technology. We think the opportunity here, in order to be the best customer management, and because of the lack of infrastructure in insurance, is to build that vertical infrastructure for AI and automation and everything else that would sit on top. And that's what we're trying to build. And then everything else we're doing is in support of that. So we think transformation of insurance really starts with transforming how customers get advice for insurance, how customers buy and sell insurance. And if you could do some things in a way that people could trust it, so they know you're on their side, there's a lot of room of what we can do in the back end and helping people. And that's what we've been passionate about and working on. And hopefully, unfortunately, we've been growing pretty well in the past few years since our launch in August of 2022. And 2024 was an amazing year. In 2025, in addition to everything else we did, we added acquisitions as a function to give exit options for agencies who want to exit. But the core of the business remains the same, which is AI native services, being the best customer manager. To the industry, it looks like service in their book. To us, it's more like we're just here to help people, get better service and get better advice when it comes to insurance.
In your structure as an agency, as an MGA, what is your structure?
Ooh. We're more like again, AI native services. We're more like a services business that is AI native. That's the core of the structure. But licensing wise, we do have an agency license, but it's not really structured like an agency. Again, it's a new business model. It's very hard for me to sometimes compare it to the other existing business models. We consider ourselves an ally to the whole industry. So anyone who wants to get involved is always welcome as a carrier, an agency, or any kind of partner. But what we do is pretty broad. It's a little bit unique. It's obviously, it comes down to how good we are at actually managing the individual customer of the agencies or partners that we work with.
So what's special about the new structure? What's the new business plan?
Again, it's the model is that we'll go to a partner like an agency principal and say, let us help you manage your customers. And because we could have a better people, process, and platform and technology, AI, and so on, we could do a much better job with their customer management. The first thing we give them is that we give them a lot of the time back. So you don't have to worry about all this kind of stuff. The second thing is that we give them a scalable foundation. And the third thing was because we're more efficient, it ends up being a lot cheaper than what it costs them while maintaining the same customer satisfaction. When you say what's special about it, there's not like a lot of players out there that do this model. So really, when we talk to an agency, no one says we're not joining COVU because I found someone else out there like better. It's usually, hey, I don't trust someone else to do this. They need more proof points to get comfortable with the idea because it's a new idea for them.
Now, recently I saw on LinkedIn that you published that you acquired a new company. What's your acquisition philosophy there?
I think, again, at the end of the day, our mission is to help people, customers. And if an agency principal, and we do that for our partners, like for our agency partners primarily. And if a principal says, look, I've been working on this for 30 years and now I want to exit, we feel like, hey, we could help you with an exit plan. And that's when we buy. We're not really proactive in market buying as much. We're more like reactive, and we try to provide an exit type of partner that we already have for the most part. Sometimes as we're out there in the market, someone says, look, I just want to exit, and we try to kind of give them a good exit option if that's what they want. But again, most of our business is just helping agencies that want to stay and help them grow. But if someone wants to exit, we could always help them with the exit path if their option to kind of get out while we do what we do best, which is managing customers and helping them at the end of the day.
So without soliciting any exits or exchange of securities, who should reach out to you regarding their exit?
Agency, like the way that we look at it is we'd like to help agency principals no matter what they're trying to do, because at the end of the day, what an agency principal is trying to do on paper is to help customers buy insurance. And we are trying to give them all the resources they need to do the best job possible for helping those customers. We're trying to partner with them under their name, under their method, and with their relationships. Any agency principal or any partner for that matter, even the roll-up plays, we work with some of the biggest agency roll-up plays as well. Like anyone who's focused on kind of that, because COVU is trying to be the best at people, process, and platform in order to be the best customer manager and advisor, we have multiple options to help them with it. So that could be servicing or exiting or anything else that they kind of need help with in order to do what they want to do. We consider ourselves like an all-in-one partner for anyone who's trying to kind of like do a good job with the customers.
That's awesome. How do you see other competition in the consolidation game?
We look at them as partners. We don't see them as competition. If anyone wants to make a fair offer to an agency and wants to buy them, they can. We're not trying to be the best roll-up company. We're trying to be the best service company. And as I said, we partner with many of the roll-up players as well. And we love to help them. And the value we provide to them is that we could drive a lot of the EBITDA that they're looking for. So I give them a scalable foundation and take care of a lot of the integration, consolidation, and technology implementation. So for the most part, we look at them as partners, not competition at all. Like if they want to make a fair offer, they can, and we try to stay out of it. And we typically are not on the market looking for agencies either. So when an agency comes on the market, they can make an offer and buy it, and we'll be here to support them if they want to.
Great. Okay. And I find myself now, diving into a quick question, a quick answer, a quick question, a quick answer, instead of the usual conversation or philosophy that actually the philosophy started very well at the beginning. Now, usually I start an episode asking about what's your hobby, what you've been doing, and then jumping later on to your background, COVU, and, the company itself. Ali, any hobbies, something that we can tell people about you, not just as a as a businessman who's now helping agencies and other partners with or without the roll-up?
I think COVU started with a passion of mine. It was that, like, when I was at Plug and Play before, as you know, and at Plug and Play, I didn't come from an insurance background, so I wasn't like excited about insurance until I got involved with insurance at Plug and Play, learned about the history of the industry, learned about how the mission is very noble. Is the idea of us coming together and helping each other as a community. And the only thing that really I think became a personal passion of mine was like, look, this is a very noble concept, but why does it not feel that way? And then the second part was, the more I think about the future, the more I think about how can we actually manage people's risk. And that was a passion of mine. Like, I mean, surprising for a lot of people, it became like something that it wasn't about making money. It was actually about me being passionate about like implementing something that I feel like is good for people. So what I do, I actually am very passionate about, I'm very excited about. But if you're asking, hey, if you're not, like working on how do we manage people's risk, what do you work on? And I love traveling. I just love new experiences. I try to travel as much as I can. And right now we're pretty split between Los Angeles and San Francisco. So I kind of spend a lot of time between, and it's just a great balance of living also between. San Francisco gives you a lot of, like technology center and all that. And LA obviously has a weather, and it's just a whole different community. So it's been fun traveling between the two.
Did you move to LA?
I mean, I'm split between. I'm actually in LA right now, so I kind of spend half of my
Oh,
time
come
here,
on. Yeah,
half of my time in San Francisco.
we could have done it in person.
Yeah, we could have for sure. It's just one of those things that it's my schedule is always like last minute between the two, because just hop on a flight and sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm there, kind of thing.
I know. And funny enough, I would say that the community in LA is actually growing. I become less and less involved in hands-on and the day-to-day, but we see more and more people surprisingly moving to LA, especially, or let's call it Silicon Beach, and from within the InsurTech industry, more on the investment side, because maybe they are looking to pay more taxes. I don't know. But closer to the beach, right? Santa Monica,
Yeah.
Manhattan Beach, etc. Because hey, if you want to live somewhere, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's if there is something that LA has, it's the weather
Yeah. LA is
and the
definitely a
fire.
special city.
Yeah,
Well, all of
yeah,
California has a fire, so you can't complain about that part. San
yeah, yeah.
Francisco is not like that much better. I still remember the orange skies of 2020. So
Oh, yeah. No, we saw it was all the way here.
yeah, that one was
Yeah.
bad. But we thank God we haven't had it if they don't change it back over.
Mm-hmm. So what's next? You've been working hard. I think, as I mentioned earlier, we saw that you had a roll-up. I'm sure that a few others will emerge in the near future or later future. What's next for you? How are you developing the company?
I think for me, it's all about the talent. I think there's a um, what we're doing, I'm actually passionate about. And I have found a lot of people who are passionate about it as well. And when I talk about holistic risk management, for a lot of people, it sounds like I'm talking gibberish, of course, because it's too idealistic, right? And again,
Yeah,
having in mind
it sounds very San Francisco, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm passionate about this and that, and I'm still in my 20s. I want to make the world a better place. But there is a part that is actually important, that otherwise, if you don't have some sort of a drive, and it's not based on grid, which grid is a great drive. I'm not canceling it out. It's very hard to build a company. And then leadership, so people will follow.
I think here's one thing I've learned. Fear-based motivations, including greed, they take you so far. And it's definitely one of the biggest motivators we all have. So there's nothing wrong with it in a sense, but I think it's just a different type of fuel. So I've just learned to be more cautious of what's fueling me and be more intentional of what I'm spending time on and why. And it's just a personal preference of mine. It's like, hey, I've realized if I want to run a marathon, I would much rather be, because what I've learned is like a lot of times, I was making good money at plug and play. And but it wasn't, it's not just about the money, right? It's more than that. Like, what is the money gonna do? Are you gonna achieve with it? What's that reason, what's that motivation behind it? And I think that's where I had to do a lot of work on myself to kind of figure out why am I doing what. And that's why it had to be something that I feel like actually serves the community, and that's why that became a personal passion of mine. So
Now
in
the
terms of
marathon
what's
is the marathon part is just an example, or are you actually joining the cult of marathon runners?
no, that's an example. I'm not.
Just an example.
I
Okay,
was, yeah,
perfect.
just an example. I wasn't playing it like a literal marathon. But the company is like, I'm trying to run it like a marathon. So that's been one thing that's been as such. But going back to what the company's at. So I think for me right now, the biggest focus area has been talent, finding better missionaries. I mean, the company is it's larger now, not pretty large. It's over 100 people now. And I think it's been a very big focus on mine to find missionaries, people that are excited about it. And because I'm passionate about it, finding other people that are passionate about actually creating value to the world, not just insurance. I think it's been probably my biggest focus area these days, and where I'm spending a lot of time on, and especially obviously being in Silicon Valley. How do we attract people that are from technology industry, not insurance, to get excited about insurance and the risk and the ideas that we have? It's been fun, and because of the mission and because of the value and because of what we're trying to do and our passion, frankly, collectively, it's been a fun journey attracting a lot of world class talent, and something I'm very proud of, and something that we kind of continue to do. And if someone looks at our LinkedIn, there's a lot of job posts out, and it continue to be, and a lot of it is actually product and tech focused. As we're trying to kind of build the best in class kind of product and
Mhm.
tech for everything, digitization of insurance, and kind of building that vertical infrastructure for future AI applications in insurance.
Let's do classic questions that usually for startups. Um, in terms of, because you're introducing a little bit of a new model, and with insurance and a little bit of a division of let's make the world a better place in terms of risk and the holistic part of it, right? Um, how do you sell it, or what were the main challenges of, as you said, I'm looking for those ambassadors, those mercenaries that will help me to carry the world to make the world safer in a sense, better risk management. How do you do that? How did you build a team from 0 to 100, from 1 to 100?
I think the most important part is for a lot of people in the insurance industry, the fit issue comes down to a lot of people, obviously, the really good ones are well paid. And they need to believe in the mission and the upside of the mission, which could be great. But generally speaking, I don't think we've had a massive problem with hiring people from the insurance industry, because it's what we're doing is it's pretty sexy. And a lot of people that have been in the thought leadership positions or been problem solving, especially entrepreneurial insurance people, like people who've been an entrepreneur in the insurance industry. When I talk to them about how we're solving a problem or problems we're solving, most of them usually resonate with it very quick. Because the idea here is that instead of me trying to change an insurance company or changing an insurance agency, I'm just going to do the change myself for them. And that's something that came after years and years of iteration. And that usually resonates with a lot of people. So I think it's more about like, how do we attract people from outside of the insurance industry and teach them insurance? And not just anyone, because the funny
Yeah,
thing with the insurance industry is that a lot of times when you're hiring engineers, most people think if I hire someone out of grad school, like, or sorry, out of undergrad, they studied computer science, they're great engineers. But there's a massive difference between, a work-class engineer and someone who just graduated. So to find people with that kind of like work-class mentality and teach them insurance, that's been a bigger area of focus for us. But we think we've done a very good job identifying a lot of people who already have some insurance knowledge and tech knowledge. And now it's like the next stage of our evolution is to find people from outside and teach them insurance, because now we could afford to do that with the additional funding and with the additional time and the headcount that we have. But before we couldn't, because we needed people to hit the ground running. That's why we had to spend a lot of time on finding people that actually understand insurance and technology before.
Can you share a little bit about the funding? Who's backing you? How was the journey of raising money?
We haven't announced all the funding that we've done, but the ones that I think announced, the last one that we announced was in Q1 of this year, which we announced our A extension. That was part of our original Series A term sheet. But it was supposed to be smaller, got oversubscribed in a week. So we closed more than we originally had planned for. And then on top of it, a larger debt facility vehicle to kind of help with the acquisitions. But I think we have announced around 35 million of what we've raised so far, and then on the equity side, and then on the debt side, additional facility for acquisition.
Perfect. No, it's first of all, again, those are things that you can sometimes cannot share. Also, it's really important who is the investor that helps you to reach. Are they a good partner? Cool, wonderful. What else do you want to chat about? What's important? What's not important that should talk about?
I think we're in a historical opportunity with AI. I think as like any other opportunity like this, it creates a lot of hype. Some of it is very true, some of it is very not true. I think the first thing that I usually talk about is that I think the entire industry, the entire world could look very different in the next 5 to 10 years. And the reason I say it could, because it may or may not, depending on how much the change is allowed to happen. I think a lot of tools are going to be created, but those tools are not necessarily going to be implemented or adopted, right? Just separating the two. So that means a lot of the models or a lot of the assumptions that we had about the past would change, and the speed of change is going to pick up. That's exciting. It's a new wave. It's either going to create an opportunity for people to ride the wave or be crushed by it. So that's, I think, just one big caveat here. The second part is I think there's a lot of hype around it. And one thing with the hypes, I remember in 2016, half of the time insurance companies would ask us about blockchain and how to create risk pools with blockchain and things that, when you look back, it's like, it's a hype. Blockchain is great. It's a great tool, but it just feel like a lot of the applications that we're looking for, like UBI and blockchain, it was a little bit too hypey. So I think now, again, I'm seeing the same thing of, I don't think people are always spending time on what they should be spending time on. And then the thing that comes with this, it's not just the insurance industry, also venture capital industry. A lot of times, I think.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
You see that everywhere. It's like AI. Everyone is slapping AI, and at best they will use some sort of a wrapper around OpenAI or just calls to that. The AI companies will build their own engines, or at least will have a unique data set that they will teach and train that AI. But otherwise, most of them are just AI. That's it. Done.
I think it's important to look at it. I think one thing that I wish I had at some point, I was thinking about it in a company like that, or as a startup, was I feel like there's more learnings in failures than is in successes. I think we always focus on successes and we forget that 98% of startups fail, and those have like a lot of collective shared experiences and learnings that we don't properly translate. So a lot of times when I'm looking at what startups are working on now or what VCs are investing in now in the insurance industry, I feel like a lot of the lessons learned from 5 years ago, 4 years ago, are completely gone, or if we forgot about them and so on. Like how agencies adopt, how brokers adopt, how insurance companies adopt, which tools matter, which tools don't. All that is important. I think another big opportunity is when I talk to a lot of VCs is what they understand from insurance is very superficial, because you don't expect them to really understand and go a lot deeper into it. Obviously, the good VCs and some of the InsurTech VCs being able to know actual problems that need to be solved versus stuff that on paper sounds great, but in reality, it just doesn't work that way. It is a massive opportunity. So obviously, insurance industry has still a lot of problems to be solved, and it's a massive industry. I just feel like, and especially with AI, there's a lot of tools out there, but still looking at it, I feel like sometimes AI tools are being focused on the wrong applications to start with, because of a lot of the learnings that we had from 5 years ago. And obviously, again, I don't blame it because a lot of VCs, you can't expect them to know all the complex processes of insurance and what the exact opportunities are sometimes. So, but overall, I think it's a super exciting time. That there's a lot of exciting applications being built. I mean, we look at how AI is developing on our end and the applications we're using, and the speed of change is just ridiculously high right now. And there are opportunities for things that just was not possible even a year ago. And it's only going to get better in the next year or so. I'm super excited about the opportunity, super excited about the industry, and I'm very, very optimistic of what's going to everything would look like in like the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay, so let me ask you the last question that I'm asking everyone. And usually it's basically, do you have any lesson learned from a failure or just, aha moment that you learned over your career journey, if it's plug and play, before, after, and now as how long? Almost 4 years as a founder?
No, founder is more than 5, but COVU has been
Five,
3.
sorry.
COVU has been little less than I think there's a lot of lessons learned. I mean, I think both how to be a founder, how to be a CEO, the role of the CEO keeps changing, all that kind of stuff. But I would say probably one relevant to this discussion is the reason I like AI native services is because I think the insurance industry sometimes kills innovation. And the best way to do innovation a lot of times is just to do the work, use tools like AI yourself, and then give them the outcome. And that's why I like AI native services as opposed to go and try to convince other people here's the tool to use. I think we've been trying that model for many years. It's hard to get the industry to adapt something. So it's just a lot better to say, like, look, the AI is going to give you more efficiency, it's going to give you better customer experience. We'll just do it for you. So you don't have to worry about integrating it, adopting it, training your staff, all that kind of stuff. We'll just take care of all of it. And that's, I think, why I love this business model. And I think it's one of the best ways to kind of improve the industry.
That's a great lesson.
Makes sense.
Wonderful. Ali,
well,
thank you very much. I enjoyed talking with you and hope to see you. Will you be here in a couple of weeks for the IB Fest InsurTech conference?
I don't know what that is, but I usually come to LA a lot.
Okay, I think I think it's the Insurance Business Journal, or one of them. They're organizing here a conference in Santa Monica.
No, I wasn't planning to.
Okay, we'll talk about it if you're here.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks, buddy. It's always good seeing you. I think now we know each other for 7, 8 years now.
7, 8, maybe.
Yeah, it's like InsurTech was much smaller back then. Huh?
It was. Well, when we met, you were plug and play. I was still with farmers.
You were still with farmers.
We used to do the trips to Sunnyvale.
Yeah, I remember like your InsurTech LA meetup back 8 years ago or something. In Santa Monica.
You were one of the I think one of the first speakers. Oh no, you were when we did in Swell, not in in one of the other Santa Monica venues.
The Santa Monica venue, yeah.
That was
cool, man. It's good to see you again, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. See you soon.